There's nothing romantic in the loss of a loved one. Nothing poetic about the empty spaces left behind and the empty clothes in the closet that are now on sale at a thrift store somewhere. When you died, we were asked what you would have wanted, and by that they meant how you wanted your body disposed of, not your plans for the future, which were always just this side of ridiculous. No one asks a 16-year-old what they want done with them when they die. No one asks a child if they prefer cremation over burial, or if it even matters to begin with, since you won't be here to see it anyway, whether a grave marker or a box of ashes. Speaking of ashes, I still have the candles you always liked to burn when you were having a bad day. And the room still smells a little bit like you because of that. I imagine you bickering with me in the grocery aisle, saying that springtime rain should change its name to dryer sheet, and that anything apple-scented just smells like candy. All your food has long gone bad, speaking of, and you were the only one that ever ate kale anyway. I think the day I lost you was also the day I lost myself, and 2 months later it still feels like a phantom limb, like I'm reaching for something that's no longer there. And your presence in the house remains in the things you've left, every empty chair and your Wonder Woman coffee mug and the motivational posters that I always hated but you found true inspiration in. I go on long bike rides in the very early morning on a bike that once was yours but now belongs to me, I guess. I ride by every coffee shop you used to frequent, though you always liked the cakes more than the coffee. And on my way to school, I passed the gym where your membership had to be canceled, but then again, you always preferred television over exercise anyway. Speaking of television, ours misses the trashy programs you used to watch, and I tried putting one on myself, but all I could imagine was your voice telling me I shouldn't indulge in things I have no interest in just for your sake. And there's nothing beautiful in the quiet corners of the house where 6 months ago you laughed over your cereal and slept until noon and pretended deep down that you did not want to die. No one asks a teenager what they want done with their body after death. We settled on cremation in the end. I don't know if you would have liked that. You talked sometimes about becoming a tree, but it feels more natural to have you sitting in the living room beside the candles you used to light when you had a bad day. And speaking of bad days, mine are never ending, because my heart will not forget the day I lost you. I wonder if you were in pain that morning, if you could feel the moment your heart stopped. I wonder what you would say about it now. Everyone told me I should write a poem about the loss because it would be beautiful. But there's nothing beautiful about being forced to live without you, and there's nothing poetic about the space inside of me that you took with you when you left. You should write about it, they said, but there's no combination of words in the English language that can describe this truncated feeling, no words that will ever do you justice. I always thought I would die first, but I suppose a bottle of pills, a length of rope, a knife are nothing compared to a stray blood clot. Like always, you beat me to the finish line, and maybe that's appropriate, because you always did find joy in besting me. Your clothes have been given away, save for the few I sometimes wear, in the hopes that some of you will rub off on me, and your childhood toys sent to those in better need of them, all except your favorite teddy bear, which I like to think you would have wanted me to have. I wear your Virgo necklace every day, though I've never put much stock in starlight. And speaking of starlight, I wish I believed that that's where you were, twinkling bright and burning far above the earth, but you and I have both never believed in that, or at least you never expressed as much. I suppose no one asks a 16-year-old what she wants done with her after death. Whether cradled in constellations I have no faith in, or breathing life into a tree, or kept as ashes inside of a box on the shelf next to the candles you always lit when you had a bad day. I keep one lit for you because you always liked fire. There's no poetry in losing you, nothing lovely about the ache of a missing limb. And speaking of death and of missing you, I'm sorry I never bothered to ask what you would have wanted. I wish I could ask now. It's just that there's nothing that isn't painful. About you being gone.